Hey, I am live. I had a little bit of delay here because I had a crazy storm blow through here, and you might still be able to hear a little bit going on the roof. I have a she shed that has no insulation on the roof, so it's a tin roof making a bunch of rain noise. So if you hear that little popcorn sound, hopefully it'll start dissipating. But I was concerned about even coming on because of that fact. But it seems to be dissipating, so I'm going to go ahead and go and do this thing and have some fun with this. So tonight I'm going to be showing you how to work with clay. It's a fun little project, and it's kind of a way to get your feet wet, so to speak, if you've never worked with clay or had any experience with clay. So let me go ahead and get my intro out of the way, and then we'll come back and get started. Okay. Like I said, I'm so excited to actually be on here. I didn't think I was going to be able to make it. And I appreciate as you come on and you leave comments. Hey, Mary. Hey, I was really concerned about getting on here. I don't know if you can hear that little popcorny sound, but my studio is a she shed and it has a tin roof with no insulation. So the rain was pouring down and it was so loud I couldn't even hear. So hopefully it's not too bad now and I can get through this. If it does become annoying, please let me know and I'll just go ahead and stop and we'll try another day. But for now, if everybody's cool, let's go ahead and do this. So, all right. Tonight, like I said, I am working with clay. And yeah, glad I made it. And like I said, it sounds like the rain's starting to get a little bit rough. But like I said, if it does, just let me know. Facebook user, I've got a Facebook user. I'm so happy to see your beautiful face and so happy to see you're happy and healthy again. Yay! I don't know who you are because you have to go into the post in one of the live streams wherever you are and allow, you have to click that little link and allow Facebook to let StreamYard in so I can see your name. Right now, whoever you are, thank you so much. I'm so glad to be back live and healthy and, feeling pretty good, but we're not going to get away in all that mess. I'm just glad I'm back creating. So anyway, like I said, tonight, what I'm going to teach you is how to make this little clay guy here. Whoops, let me get my camera. Actually, yeah, get up there. Is that good? My lights were reflecting really good. But it is, you can make it into an ornament. That's sort of what I've done here, but I've got a little string with a hanger on it. And it doesn't have to be an ornament per se. You could leave the little holes off as I go along and just incorporate it into a piece of art, like put it on a piece of wood or a canvas or whatever you want to do with that. But I thought with the holidays coming up, it might be something kind of neat to, Facebook is wonky sometimes. It's me. Oh, Stephanie. Hey, darling. Hey, yes, I am so glad to be back here, and it's good to talk to you too. Um, Tamara, oh, you like working with clay? Hey, Tamara. Well, good. Then if you like working with clay, then you'll be interested in what we're doing tonight. By the way, just a little plug, I am starting a clay membership. I'm actually it's called Mud.Clay.Art. And I am going to have it as a private membership where I'll be doing all sorts of fun things and monthly projects. So if anybody's interested in that, you can private message me at the end and we'll talk about that because I'm just now getting it set up through Facebook. Okay, but like I said, being how it's the holidays coming up, I am so sorry for the noise, guys. What you're hearing is that little poppy sound. It sounds kind of like popcorn. If you're just coming on, that's the tin roof in my she shed studio with no insulation. So we were being pounded with rain a little while ago and I couldn't even hear myself. So anyway, moving on. Like I said, if the noise gets too crazy for you guys, let me know and I'll just mute it or something like that and continue on. Okay, so like I said, what we're going to do is we're going to build this little guy here that you can use as an ornament for your tree, or like I said, incorporate it any way you want. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and take you down below. And you can see I've got my set up here a little bit. I've got it pretty close, but What I'm working with is polymer clay. Okay. Anything that I'm doing, especially in the membership group, I'm going to be working with either air dry or oven baked clay because it's user friendly and you don't have to have a kiln or a pottery wheel or anything like that. So these are all going to be projects that you can do in your own home really easily. Clay is not a big mystery. It's actually really fun, and it's a great way, even if you're a seasoned artist, to incorporate something really unique and three-dimensional into your artwork. If you're a painter, mixed media, whatever, it can really be fun to play with. All right, so what I've got here, like I said, is a polymer clay. This, let me see, did I pull out my actual cover here? Okay, I've got my package here because I've already gone through. This is super sculpey. There's different types of clay, polymer clay, just a little background. The polymer clay is a plastic-based clay. There's so many types of clay. Like I said, I won't get into all the different versions, but this one here is a super sculpey. It is this color, it's flesh tone, because a lot of times they use this clay to make models like people's faces and doll faces and things like that. They actually use this. It's a harder, firmer clay. Some people might be familiar with this particular clay, the white clay, and this is a Sculpey as well, but this is also a little bit softer. This is kind of like the original Sculpey. It still works, and it still works well. As a matter of fact, this particular set that I did here of these wings was actually made with the white clay. And so you can use either one. Honestly, I actually decided that I prefer using this firmer clay because it's finer and it just, to me, it works better. You have to work it a little bit, which they call condition it. And basically conditioning it is kind of like if you've ever kneaded bread or dough, you have to get it. It comes in like there you go. It comes in like a block form, like this, a big block, and it's kind of hard in the beginning. And so what you have to do is you have to work it. You have to get your wheel here. Let me see if I can get my camera up a little bit so it's not so tight close that. I want to get kind of close in so when I start doing things. All right, but this is like just a little, this is from the dollar store. It's just, what the heck you call this thing? Anyway, it's your, come on, help me out here. Why am I having a brain fart for a moment? I haven't seen a moment. Anyway, so you get one of these, or you can use a plastic one, and you roll it out. You roll it out, you knead it, you get it like clay, and you get it to a point where it's a little bit more applied. A rolling pin. Duh. Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't think of that word. Anyway, yeah, rolling pin. Boy, that was pretty embarrassing. Okay. So, but like I said, here is the soft original Sculpey. Okay. There's also air dry clay. You could actually use air dry clay for this as well. It just takes a little longer. I'm too impatient. I like to have things bake in the oven and get done. Now, this clay here is a lot firmer. You can tell, but it's definitely got a little bit more thickness and heaviness to it. But like I said, it's super smooth and it's easy to work with. And if you're doing something you need to like stand up and really take shape, it will hold its shape because it's a little bit firmer than this. All right, so, okay, enough about the little clay. Let's go ahead and get started on the project itself. So to save time and effort, I went ahead and rolled this out. I did, like I said, I took the rolling pin. Yeah, it's called a rolling pin. And I couldn't write it fast enough. Okay, Mary. Anyway, so like I said, but as far as this goes, this is just straight off the block. And like I said, you have to work it a little bit. One of the things that I'm getting ready to invest in, and I'm trying to like go to the thrift store to be cheap and see if I can find one, is a pasta maker. So if you have a pasta maker already, you literally just roll this through there. It conditions, it's like the best ever. So it's going to save your hands and save your wrists a little bit, especially if you're working with a little bit heavier clay. All right. So, but old school ways to take your rolling pin and you can actually roll it out, that way too and get it conditioned. But you got to make sure you get it nice, a little bit workable. Okay. And you got to spread it out. So what we're doing here, and the reason that I had this set up like this is, like I said, I put this in so darn close. All right. I'm actually working on a piece of glass. This glass surface, you can get like just a glass from the Dollar Tree, take the frame out, take the glass out of the frame like a a frame, picture frame, and use that glass if you want. If you're using this firm clay like this, the glass is good. It doesn't get too sticky. It'll actually work on the Sculpey, by the way, the original Sculpey, by the way. This Sculpey is a little bit stickier though, but if it gets too sticky, a little trick is to roll it in a little bit of cornstarch, and it will take some of that stickiness out, make it a little bit thicker, which is kind of a nice little trick. But sometimes when you're rolling like this, it'll have a tendency to get stuck on your glass because it's so sticky. This will not stick. This is great. But a little trick for that is to get you a silicone baking pat, just a mat. Anybody, like I said, if you've ever worked with fondant or done baking biscuits, whatever, working with dough, it's a very similar process in a way. So, but I would suggest if you're going to use the softer Sculpey clay, that you would use like a silicone type mat. That way, when you're trying to pull your image up, it will not stick to your mat, and it'll be a lot easier. Because what you're going to have to do is transfer this onto a baking pan and bake it in the oven. All right, so without further ado, let me go ahead and get started here. So, okay, what we're going to be doing here is you know how a lot of you guys are painters, and you start with a template. Similar process when you're doing something like this. I basically just took, I got a little guide. Now, this is a little bit dog-eared because I've used it a few times, but you can see I just kind of put together my little wings and my little heart, and I've made a little template for it. Now, what I did beforehand, by the way, the reason I have these rulers set up here is to give me a guide of the thickness. Okay, you want to be pretty consistent thickness, and by using your rolling pin, you can get it to that thickness. With this firmer clay, it takes a little bit more effort, but you can see that it's pretty much the same thickness. Okay. It just is a nice way to make sure it's nice and even. So what I'm going to do here is I'm simply laying this down. This is the easy peasy part. Okay, you can take an X-Acto knife. This is like a little clay knife. But you best thing to do is just get you a little cheap X-Acto knife, some sort of little sharp edge kind of thing. Oh, I just had a moth fly through here all of a sudden. All right, and then what we're going to do is just cut it out. All right, it's just like a pattern, just like if you're sewing or doing anything else. And, like I said, with this firmer clay, it holds up a little bit better. But you won't have like your edges won't be too how do I want to say, like misaligned or messy. It kind of pretty much holds its shape. All right, so I'm just kind of going around real quick and taking this little puppy dog out here. This is actually, like I said, this is a small little project, but you can transfer this into a larger project. And like I said, when I do the membership, boy, I've got some really fun things coming up. Some of them are going to be like whimsical and, like flowers and things you can hang on your wall, or like I said, incorporate into your paintings or whatever. And some of them I'm going to do some functional things like, make some bowls and some things that you could actually do for gifts. So stay tuned to me, because a lot of what I'm going to be sharing with you this holiday season is working with the clay and making things that you can give as gifts. Okay, instead of just not saying just. I mean, I love to paint. Don't get me wrong. I love to paint, and this is all painted too. That's another thing about it. It's a way for you to actually paint like your ceramics that you make. So it's pretty cool, huh? Instead of going out and buying ceramics, you can make your own ceramics. My arm in the way. Look up a little bit. Okay, so let me continue to cut this out. Yeah, like I said, I've gone through this thing a few times. I think I pretty much got it. All right, you can lift it up in the corner. All right, and there's your basic shape. You guys see that? I think you can. All right, so what I need is, I don't need this anymore, although before I take it all away, I do need to do one more thing, is I'm going to make my heart a little bit more dimensional. So what I'm going to do with that, now you can do this one of two ways. I just happen to have the heart like this. I just trace it out and I put it on the paper, or you could take the actual heart cut out and put it on here too. But basically, I'm just going to trace the heart because I'm going to put another layer of basically the heart on top of the other heart to make it a little bit thicker, a little bit more dimensional and rounded. Okay, just a quick, easy way to do it. All right, so we got that, and we've got our heart. Like I said, this Super Sculpey is way better. I know it kind of, the color might throw you a little bit because I think most people are used to seeing clay like in white. Lana, hey darling, hey, I'm so glad you're here. I had a little scare that I didn't think I was going to be able to come on because I had some crazy rain going on over my tin roof, and it was like ridiculously pounding. I mean, I couldn't even hear myself. All right, so I cut this away. Like I said, this is a flesh tone clay, and yep, it can be painted any color you want. You can paint it a base coat white if you want, and then paint over it. I did a sunflower the other day, and I just painted my colors right over, and it worked just fine. Okay, so we're going to set this aside. All right, so now we really don't need this. We can flip this over or take it off. I'm just going to take it off now to get it out of my way. This my little guide here. Another thing that works really good besides the rulers, if you want it a little thicker, is you can use skewers. A lot of the stuff is like Dollar Tree stuff, really inexpensive. You can use skewers and put them down as your guide on the side, and it makes it a little bit thicker. Like if you need something a little bit heavier, skewers are actually a little bit heavier. Okay, now, so where's my little tool here? One of the things that you can get, like you can actually order on Amazon. They have a whole pack of these really cool, like clay tools, and different things, you know, used for different purposes. But it comes in like a pack, it's like 11 or 12 bucks. It's super cheap, and you can get a ton of like tools that you can work with. But honestly, there's things that you can use from your home. You don't need a lot of fancy stuff when you're doing clay. As far as doing impressions and things, you can use stencils. You can actually use like butter knives and even pasta to create really cool impressions with. So you don't have to start out getting super fancy with a lot of stuff. All right, so basically what this little guy is though, let's see this. Okay, it's just like a little soft silicone, and it helps to kind of give you a little bit of a way to kind of smooth things out, make them look a little nicer. This one actually cut out pretty good. There's not too much I have to do with it. So I did pretty good with this one. How are we doing here? Your earrings are hitting the Bluetooth. Oh, thank you for letting me know. So problem solved. I'll just go with one. I'll be like a pirate. Thanks for letting me know, Terry. See, people don't tell me things like this. How is the sound quality though? Is it okay? Can you hear my music? Probably not. Even though I put it on every week, nobody is ever able to hear it. Okay, so this guy actually is a little stuck, which means I'll have to form it up again. And I better make sure that this is not going to be too stuck on here. If it is stuck, there's a couple ways you can get these off. Actually, these is I take like a putty knife and kind of go underneath it like this. And so this is a little bit on here. I probably should use my silicone mat, but it's not too bad. Like I said, if I would have used the softer Sculpey, it would have been like massively stuck on there. Believe me, I know I've had to peel things off of there. Okay, so I just got that lifted off and smooth these areas down a little bit. It doesn't matter too much because when I put when we do the wing effects on here, because you can see that if you look a little closer here, you know, this actually has a little textured wing effect to it. And I'm kind of a little magic trick I'll show you in a second. All right, so here we go. This heart is going to basically sit on top of this heart. Now, there is actually a glue that you can get. It's called Sculpey glue. And it's like a little bit of, it looks kind of like white glue in a sense, but I think it's a watered down clay that you can use. Madeline, hi Madeline, how are you? It's good to have you here. Thanks for popping in, I appreciate it. We're doing a clay heart, by the way, and this is called the Sacred Heart. As I get a little bit down the road and I get a little lag time, I'll tell you a little bit about the Sacred Heart and what it means from what I know. I know it's a Catholic symbol, but I've always thought it was a beautiful symbol and it is related to Jesus. So anyway, I'll talk about that because whenever I do a live teaching, not only do I teach about what I'm working on, but I have this thing called artifacts, which I look up kind of like Google or do the history on whatever it is subject I'm doing, just to have something to kind of talk about and give a little conversation, and you learn a little history lesson about things as well. So anyway, yeah, so I've got a couple little artifacts about the Sacred Heart. And of course, if anybody else knows more about it, absolutely tell me, because I know it is a Catholic symbol. Okay. Anyway, so you see what I did there? What I was saying about the clay glue is that if you wanted to, you could put a little dab of this clay glue down on here and leave it like that. But honestly, this will stick just fine um, together when you bake it. Even if this does not stick when it bakes and it was to come apart, after it's nice and dry and hard, you could put a little tacky glue or, E6000 or something on top of it to hold it down. So there's more ways, as I say, there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? All right. Well, we're working with clay. Like I said, it is pretty user friendly, and there's different things that you can do. Tamara, thank you for all the tips. I'm new to clay art, but I love it so far. Well, Tamara, I tell you what, if you're new and you like it, you really need to get on with my membership, Girl Crammers. We're going to do some lot of fun things. I mean, a lot of fun things. I've got a plethora of things that we're going to teach you. Now, one thing I'm not going to be doing too much is like figurines. I won't be doing things like, making little bears and stuff like that. It'll be more like artistic things that you can actually do that are more like ornamental, or like I said, are decorative or functional. Like I said, some of them will be functional things too, like wall hanging planters and things of that nature, which I've already done on here before. But anyway, yeah, like I said, if anybody's interested in that, you can get with me and I'll tell you a lot more about it. All right, now, okay, pretty much got my heart on. I've got the wings. Now here's the little wing magic that's really cool. All right, let me find my, like I said, you can use the X-Acto knife, anything with a sharp point like this. Okay, here, this is really kind of cool. You just kind of slide it underneath there. Let me see if I can get close enough. Sorry for the glare, but of course I've got the ring lights. You can see that, and I've got glass. So what are you going to do, right? All right, so I'm just basically kind of pressing it under there and doing a small lift. And what it does, it just creates that little bit of it. You want to start from the top, by the way, because you want to work from the top down. So see how it's creating this neat little and I'm kind of lifting it up, but I'll bring it down a little bit. You don't want to go too deep, of course, because you'll dig too far into your clay. But you want to lift it up enough that it gives you that sort of like feathery look. And try not to make them like in a row, kind of like go in between each one so it doesn't look so uniform, because when feathers are laid, they're not really like that. You can actually go off to the side a little bit and lift them up. Okay, and just kind of bring it down like that. So that's pretty much all you do. Pretty cool trick, huh? All right. Christmas ornaments, absolutely. That's what I was saying, Terry. It's good to have you here, darling. I was saying that I'll be doing a lot of this season with teaching people making things that you can use as gifts. Since it's the gift giving season, it's the holidays. A lot of people are doing their paintings and other things, but I thought, well, you know what? I like to make gifts to give people for the holidays. So why not do the same, when I'm doing my live so people can learn how to do some stuff. And by the way, for anybody, I didn't really say who I was, but I'm Kim Hostetter. I'm Crafting with Kim, and I have my own Facebook page. And I also stream on YouTube and here in this group. And let's see, where else? Oh, I have my live sister painting hood. I've got my girls on here. I got my girls in the house. Woo-hoo. I got Terry, and actually Mary's a part of it as well. And then Lana. And we're the main kind of girls. We get on there and paint. Matter of fact, Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock is a time when you can get on and you can get in our live sister painting hood group, and you can paint along or create along. It doesn't have to be painting. You can do whatever creative endeavor you choose. Okay. All right. So you can see how I did that. And I basically just kind of lifted it up there. Can you guys see that okay? If not, I'll bring my camera down. Now, another little tip I did on top of that is I just kind of did some little lines, like scored it a little bit with the end here, gives it a little bit more like, I don't know, defining, I think, of the with the wings. All right. Okay. So, and like I said, if you want, you can kind of go off to the sides a little bit, make it look so it's not so like, you know, tight or so uniform. Bring your wings up. But yeah, I put a little score on it. All right. And I'll see if I can lift this up so you can see it a little bit better. All right. So see there? Does that look okay in the light? I know it's kind of funky sometimes, but I actually put a little score on it and then did the wings. Now, at what is it? Stephanie says it's like live magic or creative magic. Obviously, you know, you see me do one. You don't need to see me do the other. I've got one because what we would do with this after we're done with this is that we would put it on our cookie sheet and we bake it. Oh, as a matter of fact, I want to show you one more thing. If a person is interested in making it into an ornament, you could take anything from, you know, the back of your paintbrush or any little, you know, hole, something to make a hole, and you could actually put your little holes up here. Okay, just make sure you put it enough. This gets pretty hard. This clay does get pretty hard, but you want it to be too close to the edge because you wouldn't want it to break. But you can just put a couple holes in it at the very top like that. And that way you can use some twine or string or whatever, something kind of cool, ribbon and the string through there. And then you can hang it if you choose to. If you don't want to hang it, you want to incorporate somehow else, then don't do the holes. All right, so ta-ta-ta. Since I've got this far, you can see that that's pretty much all you would do. You would finish off this wing here. You put it in the oven, by the way. Please bring the camera down. Okay, I'm trying to, let me see if I can get it down. I've got an Archon mount, and honestly, this is about the closest I can get it. I just have to bring it up. So anyway, yeah, so you would basically do the other side, and I'll show you that again in case it was too far away. I can actually hold it in my hand. So what I did is I just kind of slid like an X-Acto knife or a really sharp edge underneath, and you just lift it a little bit. Okay, we're just lifting just enough to kind of give it sort of a feather feel. You got that? Okay, yeah, it is a pretty cool effect. And honestly, I just figured it out on my own. I just started playing with it and thought, we could give the feather effect, you know? And so that's what I did. So basically, you just go along, and like I said, you just create that feather effect. And then you go like this, and you score it afterwards. Oh, what the heck is that? A little piece of paper. Give it a little bit of a score on the edge, too. And you can't really see it so much now, but once it's painted, it shows up a little bit better. And so now that we've got this part done, I don't need to bake this because, ta-da, I did the live magic and I've got one already baked and ready to paint. Okay, time savers, right? Okay, I can just throw that over there. That will not harden until I bake it. So that's one thing about using the baked clay as opposed to air dry. You don't have to worry about keeping it nice and air dry in a plastic bag or anything. Okay, so I've got the finished piece here. And you know what? Let me think about something. Is there something I can put down so this is not so glary? Hold on a second. Ladies, I think I got an idea. All right. I really don't care if this gets wet. This is my baking dish. So, I mean, I don't care if this gets paint on it because it's just a metal dish. That's a little bit better. It takes some of that glare off, right? Okay, yeah, much better. Okay, so how do we get this aged effect with these wings? Okay, so there's a couple ways to do this, but the way I did this one is basically I'm going to take a gray base coat, and then I'm going to do a white dry brush on top because I want to get all up in those crevices. And see how this one, you can actually see how the little lines stand out, but you can't see them until you actually do this effect. So let me go ahead and just mix up a little bit of gray with some white and black using Mud.Clay.Art for the most part. That's the paints I like to use. All right, so white and a touch of black. And brushes, I mean, you can pretty much anything goes, whatever you think is going to work. I think the first time I did it, I used like a flat brush, but I've gotten to where I like this little round brush. This is I think this is a 6 round brush. I kind of like it because it kind of can kind of jab up in there in the areas, and it, you know, kind of gets a little bit dog-eared, but that's what's going to happen with this one. So I'm going to get my rag. All right. So also too, ceramics, if you've never worked with clay, is that it absorbs the paint like super fast. And you usually have to put a couple coats on. A lot of times I'll water my acrylics down just to kind of get it to flow a little bit better. And then you can go back and put your other coat on. So like I said, I'm just going to mix me some gray up real quick here. Probably got a little bit too dark. Let's see what we got here. Although it really doesn't matter because once I put the white on top. All right, so here we go. This is really super simple. It's simply just painting the gray on there. Make sure that you get your sides. And of course, my thought process is if you're doing this as a gift, whenever I would do a commission piece, you know, be it art or murals, which I've done in the past, I always try to make the back look nice too. I wouldn't just paint this and leave a bunch of paint marks all over the back of it, you know, because you could put your signature on there or whatever you want to do. And people, you think, well, people know it's the back, but it's actually nice because it looks more finished. So if you're doing, and actually if you're going to hang this on a tree, then you definitely would want to paint your back because you want it, you know, if it turns around or something, you want it to look nice and uniform on both sides. All right, so I've got quite a bit of paint on there. I kind of saturated that side a little bit because I wasn't paying attention. It's all right. I'll just have to put my heat gun on it and dry it out real quick. All right, so you can see how I'm really getting in there in all those crevices. Of course, acrylics, just like painting on a canvas, if you get it on your other areas, say if I get a little gray on the heart, it ain't no thing. You can just go right over it. You know, take a couple coats or whatever it is and go right over it. All right. So anybody that says, Mary, it's worse than wood soaking. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it does soak up. But, and usually, like I said, you'll put one coat down. That's why I do like a little bit of a watery coat first just to get a color on there. And then I go back and add a little heavier coat for whenever I'm doing. I find, me personally, I liked having kind of an aged look to the clay because it makes the texture stand out a little bit better. So most of the things that I do when I work with the clay is I do it like an aged effect. I'll either do what I'm doing here, I would put like a darker base coat on and then do a dry brush on top, or I will go back with like after I do like my base coat, there is antiquing gel. It's an acrylic antiquing gel that you can get, and you put a little bit on that on, kind of wipe it off a little bit, and then I would put whatever colors you're going to put on top. I'll explain that later in another class if it's a little bit too confusing right now. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and dry this up. Like I said, I kind of pounded that one side with a lot of paint, so I'm going to mute it just in case I'm a little bit loud. Can't be any louder than that dang popcorn sound that was going on a few minutes ago. Hold on. Ooh, wrong. Okay, here I am. All right, guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me all right? Okay, so I got this pretty much dry. And actually, I think I've got two screens going on. Let me see if I got my right. Is that better for me? Nope. All right. Okay. Anyway, here I am again. If you can hear me, let me know. I want to make sure I'm unmuted and everything is going good. So what I did was dry this. Now, as I was drying it, you can see that there's still a couple little areas that are white where I was kind of pouncing in there. but honestly, it's not going to be a big deal because I'm painting over the white. If you're doing a different color, you definitely want to try to pounce up in there and get those little areas and then cover them all up. All right, so right now what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to get a different brush, more of a flat brush for this part. Let me grab something here. Try this one. Didn't have to be anything particularly fancy. You know, like I said, ceramics are, and especially this is a texture, it's going to be a little rough. All right, so I'm just taking some white. I'm going to do more like a dry brush effect. Going down, okay. Let's figure out a way to get my camera closer. Actually, I cannot because the darn thing, let me see. Hold on a second. No, that's about as close as I can get. And I got gray on gray, but it'll be white here in a second. All right, so yeah, you can see how I'm getting this dry brush effect. You don't want to brush like too hard because, you know, your feathers are a little bit fragile and you don't want to ruin them, to break them off. It's just like a real light dry brush across the top. All right. Oh, by the way, while I'm spending time doing this, we can talk a little bit about the Sacred Heart itself. Okay, now does anybody know much about the Sacred Heart? Looks like it's going to be better if I hold it up in my hand. I got to get my light set up a little bit better, guys. I'm sorry. It's kind of hard to see with this light set up. I've got two ring lights, and maybe they're just a little too bright. I don't know. I'll make it nice and bright. Anyway, Sacred Heart. Anybody want to give me some information on the Sacred Heart? If not, then I'll kind of dive right into it from what I know. Like I said, I did a quick look up on Google. Thank God for Google, right? All right. All right, so I got that one. I'll probably get another coat on there in a little bit, make it a little bit brighter. Get this side here and let it dry up. Okay. So yeah, the Sacred Heart. It is actually, it's the most sacred symbol. Most Sacred Heart of Jesus is what it is. That's what the Catholics use this as a symbol for. And it's a devotional. I don't really know much at all about the Catholic religion. Honestly, I am a Christian, but the Catholic thing is something I'm just not familiar with. So if anybody knows more about it and can enlighten me or enlighten the group, I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, it's a symbol of Jesus's heart. And Jesus is viewed as a symbol of God's beautiful, boundless, and passionate love for mankind. Isn't that sweet? So that's what this Sacred Heart is about. It's pretty cool. And of course, I know I love me some Jesus, and I'm glad he loves us. All right, so yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. But I've always just thought this little heart wing thing was so pretty, you know. And I'm getting the edges here, whitening up the edges. Okay. And I'll probably go back and put a second coat, make it a little bit lighter. Okay. Basically, you guys get the idea. I don't like to do too much to make you, I'm just repeating something that you can see, but you can see that it does have that effect where it's got the white, but you can still see the gray through it, which gives it that dimensional effect. Okay, it gives it kind of an aged effect. Now, for the heart, it ain't nothing but putting a little red paint on, you know, painting that up. And then you can either take, you know, your white paint, or you can take a paint marker, either one, and then put your little accents on there. But let's go ahead and get this guy painted up. I chose, and this one, I like this Alzarian Crimson. It's a very dark, rich red. You know, any red you want to use is fine. All right. Now here's where you can see, oh, my brush is a little wet, where you're painting, how this ceramics like get a little streaky in the beginning, especially with a darker color. So I'm going to have to go over this a couple times. But once you get your first coat on, your second coat usually goes pretty quick. But see, by adding that second heart on top, how it gives it more dimension, it makes the heart stand out a little bit more. Okay, is anybody still with me? Gotta lose my audience. I know when I watch live, I actually watch and listen and do something else at the same time. I'm not lying. I'll be honest. But I'm just wondering if anybody's actually still there. But I did say I got 4. Oh, Robert, my baby's on. My honey bunny. Oh, thank you for joining in. He's still a little sick, guys. We've both got hit with this COVID so hard. And he's got oxygen still. Doing pretty good, though. I think we're coming out of it, and it's good to feel like a human again, you know, after being so sick for so long. Week 5 of this madness. I'm just trying to clean this up a little bit, guys, so it looks a bit cleaner. Like I said, this first coat's pretty streaky. I'm going to put that heat gun on it real quick, like, and let me see. I don't want to blast you out, but I'm going to mute you for a second. Okay, now I'm back. And what let's see, Robert saying, nice work. Thanks, darling. Looks hard to do. Actually, if you go back and watch the replay or come sit out here in the studio with me sometimes, I'll show you how easy it is to do. You need to make them bigger wings so you can put them on you. You're my angel. Oh, I'm your angel now, am I? Okay. Yeah. Okay, now we're in love. Believe me, ladies, if you've been holed up with somebody for 5 weeks straight, like day in, day out with your mate, has anybody ever had that situation? This can be a little trying. Yeah, that's where you can really tell if you really love a person or not. You can hang out with them all that time. But yeah, we've had some moments. I'm not gonna lie. But you know, we're still here. Been through a lot together. Right, Robert? Good night. Oh, you're going to sleep already? All right, that's cool. All right, I'll see you soon, babe. All right, so anyway, okay, there we go. I'm going to put just a smidge of white on here and kind of lighten that up in the center. A little highlight. I'm so glad that rain stopped. Oh, you can't imagine hanging that long? Yeah, it's been an effort for sure. I mean, you know, we can't really go out too much because I did get tested and I'm negative, and Robert's got his test tomorrow, so he's probably going to be negative. But you still have effects after it, even if you're not negative. But I'm telling you, not being able to go out, being quarantined and stuck, and all boy, let me tell you. But okay, anyway, so I just put a little bit of a highlight on there. You can highlight it as much as you want. Put your thing on there. And I'm moving pretty fast. I move pretty fast when I do these lives because, I mean, I know people are doing other things and it's late in the night and all that sort of, so I don't want to drag it out too much for you. You can always make it a little bit cleaner if you want, but you guys get the basic idea, right? Okay, you're just painting it up. And then at the end, you can just take your little liner brush or a paint pen, put a little heart accent, a little white accent on there if you want, a couple dots here, that kind of thing. All right. And there you have it. You've got, let me see if I can get this up here a little bit better. Get this darn thing out of here. That is the one thing about working with these shiny surfaces. Okay. So there you go. I've got that one. Now here's my original one, the one that was photographed, and you can tell they're very similar. We've got flying wings and flying angels going everywhere. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with them. I guess I'll put them up somehow. Anyway, so there you go. This is your Sacred Heart wings, and you can see, let me ask anybody, was that difficult, really? I mean, that was not a difficult thing to do. This is working with clay, polymer clay, and it really is so simple. And once again, if anybody is interested And I would appreciate you sharing me some love on, my Facebook and my YouTube pages. And like I said, if you're interested in this clay membership, I'm telling you, I do really quality things with my projects. It's not going to be little hokey things. It'll be really good stuff. And it's adult oriented type things. So we'll have a lot of fun with it. You can private message me on that, and I'll give you more information about that. Okay. If we have no more questions, no, see, it wasn't difficult, was it? Yeah. And like I said, whatever you do in a smaller version, you can do in a larger version. Sometimes a little bit more difficulty, but same concept. Use a template. In this particular way, we will be doing things that are more rounded and more, like I said, functional, but this is just a little introductory to clay work. So anyway, I hope you ladies had a good Labor Day weekend, and it's over. It's back to work for those that have to get back to work. And yep, thanks for sharing and thanks for hanging out with me. And it's good to be back. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye bye.